Hey, welcome back to Kirks Grocery. It's been a minute. We didn't get to do it last week because we had a live opening for Mary Serbe and Terry Carson's show, Tread and Unravel. That was going on the same time as we had a memorial here for George Floyd and police brutality, which was real heavy. So not a lot of people have seen this show yet, and we're going to be happy to show it to you today. We're out here on the street with some wild mustard. You take some of these leaves, smash them all up. Yeah. We're just letting people join. Down here on South Beach, Billings, Montana. It's a pretty nice day out. A couple of plastic flowers left over from the memorial. Today we have Sunny Stone back in Billings, Montana on cinematography tonight.
Yep.
Forgot the gimbal. So once again, handheld. I know handheld movies were a big thing in the 90s. So check that. So welcome.
Tread and Unravel.
I'll be here with us, as always.
Turn this way. So.
Hello, Shane. How are you today? It's nice to see you here at Kirks Grocery.
It's great to see you. I'm so happy to be here at your show with LB.
With LB, who's always here.
Yeah.
And with Sunny, who's returned from Northern California to make Billings better.
Yeah, and we're so happy to see Mary's work all together. This is a show she's been working on since I met you, kind of 2017, 2018.
Yeah, I finished 3 of them in 2018, and then I finished a series this year. Yeah.
Great.
So it's been kind of waiting for completion for a while.
And we'll talk about the series as it go on, all the different materials she's using, and kind of what she was going after. But let's look at this one at the front here first. So up on the wall here, once again, it's called Tread and Unravel, Mary Serbe and Terry Carson. The top work right here is by Mary Serbe. It is oil and thread on canvas. It is called La Push Without, and it is $600. Oh, I was going to measure this. This is like 36 by 24 or something like that. No, it was 40. It was 40 by something. 40 by.
You know, I share
24.
the measurements, but then I do not.
They're
really
on the
hold
website.
to
All
that.
this stuff is available to see at kirksgrocery.com. And
Best to wake everybody up in case you're sleepy.
so,
my cousin
anyways,
Jill, she's watching.
we're going to just talk to Mary about her work. And let's talk about this painting first, and then maybe
Yeah.
we'll look at a couple paintings. Then we're going to talk about her background, how she ended up in Billings, Montana, and why she's having a show here at Kirks Grocery. Doesn't that sound good?
That does sound good. I'm excited. That's a good plan.
Now, if we get a little flirty, I'm going to let you guys in on the secret that we've been
Wait.
dating for a few years.
Whoa.
Just to let you know,
Sean
we'll get that
Chandler's
out
out
of the...
there. I'm Shane's wife, too.
Yeah. Well, you know, times are crazy.
They are. They're wild times.
So one thing I'm going to just start talking about is
Oh.
these lines. Why do we got all these blue lines in all these paintings?
I was going to talk about these lines, too. So I had a series of drawings. Most of them are from about a 6-month period, but a few of the drawings are from earlier. And they're in journals. So they're on lined paper. And, you know, I feel like when you're drawing and writing on lined paper, I mean, it kind of, you know, it has an organizational element, but you kind of forget the lines are there.
Mm-hmm.
They're not as an aesthetic. And usually I don't work directly from sketches, but as an artist, when you work from a sketch, you don't copy the lines. And so on the label, the lines got washed out, but all these sketches, except for one, are on lined paper. And so I wanted to copy those lines over. And I wanted to do it in oil because I usually paint in oil, and also because, you know, oil is always this, you know, very honored by Western traditional European painting as, you know, being so, like a standard of high quality.
And I think most artists, I mean, at some point they go through a part in their career where everyone tries oil painting.
Yeah.
Because I think, like you're saying, it's like pushed upon us to be like the highest level of art almost.
And it is luminous and beautiful and versatile and wonderful, but I think a lot of people, especially if they start to get more serious about art, they feel like you know, they have to try painting and they have to try oil, when plenty of artists love to work in acrylic or tempera or, you know, watercolor. But I do like to work in oil. And I did want to use oil in this piece. I made all the pieces that have the lines painted, which is most of them. I prepared all the backgrounds at once. And Shane actually helped me come up with a system. And essentially, I had jute twine, and I would paint that twine with the blue paint, and then lay it down, and then move it, and lay it down. Put more paint on the twine, and then move it. It was most tricky with this one. This is the largest piece. But that also, you know, on the one hand, it's like lines in a journal, but on the other hand, when you buy a journal, you usually don't see this kind of rough irregularity.
You know, on some older paper, if you look at paper from way back, I noticed that the lines did used to get blown out a little bit on some older, like, grade school paper, you know. Mm-hmm. But not like this, like the jute twine where you printed it down. We got any comments on there, Sonny?
Yeah, just people saying hi.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Once again, Mary Serbe. We're talking about her work in her show, Tread and Unravel. Mm-hmm. My name is Shane DeLeon. We're at Kirks Grocery in Billings, Montana. And we're just looking at this show. We're going to walk through it today.
And the only other thing, I mean, each piece in the series is done with thread and with paint, but they're all a little different. And this one I like that this has pieces that hang, and they hang as they are. You know, they might be here one day, and they might end up over here another day.
Yeah, I like this one. I keep on doing this one over
that
here.
That one I move around a lot.
But it always kind of...
Yeah, it has a mind of its own.
Yeah, and I love that about it because your piece is always going to change, you know. And, a lot of art can be static and meant to be static, but I mean something like this that really gives it this, you know, the wind blows and it changes how the picture looks, you know. And just one black line, this dark line, can change a lot of the entire picture if you just bring that over there.
If you were drawing in ink, you know, you'd be really careful where it goes. And you know, the difference between drawing with ink, as an example, and thread is there's the permanence of ink. You know, if I wanted, I could take scissors and cut right through here and break through all of this. And I use thread in different ways, and in this one I really wanted to tack it down so I get that kind of natural motion that you can get from thread. You know, thread has that ability to kind of twist and behave in certain ways, you know, and then you kind of have to force it to straighten out too.
So something else we're going to look at today is work by Terry Carson, Montana artist who has passed away. We have some of his work here at Kirks. The new work we're showing along with Mary's, just because I thought it matched up so well. We've actually had this work by Terry for about a year. It's just been in our back room and I've been waiting to bring it out, and this seemed like a great time. A lot of this work we're looking at by Terry has a lot of strong blacks. It looks like etchings. Sometimes Mary's look like etchings. And we've even had people confuse their artwork before. Now I see the difference quite readily, but you know, you do see the similarities with all this black. Now this is spandrel glass. This is a 2 by 2 foot piece of spandrel glass that has then, I don't know how it was applied, we don't have the notes. It looks like silk screen to me, and then it's sandblasted. And there's actually, you can feel the texture here from all of this. And this is one of the more abstract ones. It's called Untitled. It's an abstract, and it's heat strengthened sandblasted spandrel glass, and it's $600. We are offering them framed for $800. Once again, our framer Hank Fuller will build us a wonderful frame, and we'll see one of his frames later on.
Yeah. And after we look at my work, we'll go through and really look at Terry Carson's work.
Yeah. So today, how many did you say you had? How many works were we looking at?
I think I have 7, but if you turn around, I'll count it.
Oh, you got more than 7.
I have 10, yeah. Okay.
10 for her, and then maybe about 10 for Terry. So yeah, welcome back. Let's come around this way real quick, and I'm going to give a real quick plug for Kirks Grocery. We got our t-shirts in. People have been asking for almost 2 years for t-shirts. We got some t-shirts and some sweatshirts. So just to let you know, we have small through extra large in these colors in both men and women's cut. That's just kind of a, you want to come in on here? If you've ever been to Kirks, a lot of this is my handwriting, and it's something you'll see at Kirks a lot if you hang out here. And I just made a collage of it. It was actually Mary's design of some of my artwork. We put this Kirks grocery up in there. So yeah, small through extra large, men or women's cut on those. Down here, we have a drawing rendered by Keith Martinez, Zenitram, of one of Renee Audette's wonderful sculptures, great artist we represent here at Kirks. And it says our logo for the common good. These are in black and white. We have those in small through triple XL. And they're pretty awesome. And then we also have a hoodie sweatshirt. That's $45. Just wanted to talk about those. We're real proud. So if you need some new clothes, hit us up. You can direct message us, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, kirksgrocery@gmail.com. Any questions you can ask Sonny. He's running comments.
Yep.
Don't we have tank tops for the Renee Zenitram?
We do have a few tank tops, women tank tops of this in the medium and large category.
We got it all.
We got it all. But now we're back to Mary Serbe's work, and this light is a little crazy on this one right now. Is this that? It's this?
Oh no, I meant the curtain. The curtain?
You want me to close the curtain?
I'm not sure. Does that look better, son?
Yeah.
So this piece, if you want to come in on this name tag here, Mary Serbe, Nevada, oil and thread on canvas, $350. And you can see she had her sketch down there on that name tag. There's writing on it.
And thanks to Jane Deschner, local artist and just wonderful friend of the art community, for making those labels with the sketches. Because they're translations of sketches in thread, I thought it was important to have them on the labels.
Maybe pull back and just rest on it for a bit so you can see the whole thing.
No.
Once again, you can see she has taken the blue paint and taken the jute twine and snapped it and left all these lines, leaving all the little imperfections, which I always love in art. I love this really delicate line. Oh, I forgot my pointer. My mom gave me a pointer. This real delicate line here.
Yeah, and that's, that's
breaks
just,
up.
if you work with embroidery floss, you get this piece of essentially thread, but you can either mix the colors or you can take pieces of thread away within that so that you get a finer line in this kind of work.
Oh, really?
So, the difference is really just that here you have the full thickness, and right here you have just a very less strands.
Because it's like there's 5 strands, is that what you said?
Yeah, there's 6 strands usually.
6 strands.
So this one probably I did with 2.
Oh, that's cool.
But
So
this
you're
was the
breaking
first
it
one I
down,
did.
breaking
Yeah.
the material down.
Most people who work with it, they either play around with the thickness or mix colors with it.
Yeah, I've heard you and Jane talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, and normally, with paints, with thread, you typically don't just use all black. That's like some sort of taboo. But this is about trying to replicate black ink.
Yeah.
So this is just black. And I haven't mixed other colors in there at all.
And it's so similar. If you can focus in on this tiny little drawing, you can see all those lines, those up and down lines there in that grass. And then she totally replicated that with the thread up on top of here. I think she did such a good job of replicating that sketch.
And that was sort of the challenge. I had been using thread in really colorful work I'd done, blending it in and being really loose and abstract with it. But this time I was really trying to closely translate a sketch and to use different approaches with the thread, to kind of see what the thread could do. And just the thread, when you're mostly working with black, then you're not playing with light and color in the eye. You're just trying to see how you can manipulate this thread. Here I painted a black area, and then I put this off-white ecru color over it.
And then you came back in with a darker black than your original painted black to even give more sense of depth.
Yeah, and that's like the full thickness of the black.
Yeah, it's
while
real
this
long.
is very thin.
Krista says this one is bold.
Bold, yeah.
And Kate Brandt said, I like those twin shirts.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
twin shirts are great.
Yeah, we're gonna get a set of them in women's tall. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a great one, and a lot of these we're going to see are named after places. The first one we looked at was La Push Without, and La Push is where?
That's in Washington.
Okay.
When I left Chicago, I was trying to make a lot of changes in my life, and I felt like nothing was moving and nothing was working, and I was trying and trying, and so I just put all my things in a storage unit and I just drove away. And
how long had you been in Chicago?
I've been there about 4 years, and then before that I've been there about 2.5, 3 years. So spent a lot of time in Chicago. I love Chicago. But I made this break. Kind of like, I thought of it as like cutting off the head of a snake, like just, that's the end. That's the end of things not going my way. And yeah, and this was part of the trip. And when I was in Nevada, I mean, everything smelled like sage, which was very overpowering. La Push appears a couple times because, you know, I sort of arbitrarily chose Bellingham, Washington as a destination because you've run out of the United States over there, pretty much. I mean, you just go all the way up to the corner and that's the end. Mm-hmm. And La Push is not far from there. And I don't know, it was a place that a few people locally told me, don't go out there, it's not worth it. I don't know, there was something that appealed to me about that. And then one person told me, like, no, you have to go out there. And so La Push to me is sort of like the edge. It's really, really, really far west in the United States, you know, so it's very much like the edge unless you get in the boat, you know. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of these, and that's Nevada.
So we have Nevada here.
And this one I just find amazing. I mean, if you are able, I hope you can all come down to Kirks, everybody that is here. We are open Wednesday through Friday, 3 to 9, and by appointment. Because this one right here, the way the light changes on it as the day goes by, the depth and the different widths of all the threads, the denseness of the thread work, it just makes your eye vibrate sometimes the more you stare at this throughout the day. And when certain light hits it, I just love it. I've loved having it up for the past week. Yeah, and you come down there on that sketch. It's called Mary Serbe, 10 years heading west. After you left Chicago still, referring to that?
No, this is, you know, the first time I left Chicago, I was in the South in a variety of states for a year and came back. And they're actually on this piece, it says 10 years heading west, turning south. It's night.
Yeah.
And it was...
Rebecca asks, what size are these pieces?
Size of these pieces, Shane.
These pieces right
Shane's
here
in charge of knowing.
are, we'd say that's 18 probably by 40. What is that size? 20 by, I don't know, it's
They're
less
all-
than 2 feet by 1.5 feet.
They're all on the Kirks Grocery website. If you go under my name as the artist and
Here,
you
let
look,
me just get it.
they have the measurements for each piece there. So that's one way to know. But
I'm sorry I don't have that off the top of my head, Rebecca. We're
yeah,
getting
but
there.
if I stand here and you can see my arm, you can kind of get a sense.
It's Mary's arm by Shane's forearm.
Mary's forearm by Shane's forearm is the measurements on that.
It's an international symbol.
Yes.
Yep.
And I love what also, I just got to point this out. So yeah, we're talking about all this thread that she's put in here. But then up in here, she's also scribbled with black pen, you know, almost fooling your eye, you know, and it's so little, it's so minute the amount of pen she used compared to the amount of thread, but you notice it and it sticks out. And I think it's important to the overall composition.
It goes in there. A little bit of Sharpie, a little bit of oil marker. I bought an oil marker for these pieces, kind of to see what would happen. And with mixed results. I mean, sometimes I think I wanted to use the oil marker because I was using oil paint and I realized a Sharpie was better than what I wanted. But in a few other, because there's a little bit of it sprinkled into the later pieces. But sometimes it did what I want. This one, you know, a lot of times because I'm working, I end up creating art at night and it's dark. And this one really, I couldn't keep doing that with. I had to start waiting for the weekends and do this in the daytime.
I'd be sitting next to her and I would be stressed out because I'm like, you're putting so many holes in this canvas is going to fall apart. And she's like, oh, nah, it's fine.
Well,
and she's right.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, show the back. I know there's some people out there that would like to see the back.
let's see. Yeah, so there's a lot of thread on this one.
Whoa.
And sometimes I use best practices with thread, and sometimes, you know, things get more chaotic. Something gets twisted, or I realize I made a mistake in the back, and that's fine. And does it also say on the back here the measurement? No.
No.
Well, I thought it might, but it doesn't. Yeah, so then, there it is.
Let's look at some of these comments here. We got Rebecca, what size? We talked about that. Lieb says perfect. Krista says love you guys. Rowan, love this piece. I love it too, Rowan. Robert Bykowski. Wow, the crew showed up. Thank you, Mary's fam. I'm so happy you're here with us today looking at Mary's work. I'm going to bring this up just because that's the kind of person I am. Why is this all smudged?
Yeah, I mean, when I made the
Did you do that on
all
purpose?
the pieces with the same process here, this was accidentally smudged. And there was a point where I was thinking I would go in with paint and correct it, but it seemed to be the best match for this one. You know, this one is the most...
It's the only one where the lines are
It's
smudged.
the only one where the lines are smudged, and it's the only one where I just keep to, I mean, except for that little bit of pen, one thing, you know? The other ones I had tacked down thread, maybe a little gray, a little ecru, you know? There's some, the next one will have a lot more color, but this one, it's just black. And I think it went well with the fact that there was some blurring here. I think it's a nice juxtaposition, because there's a lot of clean lines and a lot of tightness in this one. And then over here too, where it's loose, you know, where it came through. I could have tightened it back up, but that one.
And one thing I'm noticing about your, I don't mean to cut you off, I
No.
love these too. You know, even though you did put the straight lines on them, if you look at the actual sketches, some of the paper, they go, this one you can see the lines barely, and they're way back there. So that is going there, and I like this grid over the top. I don't know if you can really see those, they're so blown out. But I love it, I love it.
And this one I feel like has sort of terrible composition. I mean, with some of these sketches, I feel like part of me felt like the composition was off, or it wasn't, or there were things I didn't like about the original sketch. But like I said, I don't normally work directly from a sketch, and I felt this compulsion to stay really true to what was there. Not to say to myself, oh, if I change the way this was laid out, I might have stronger composition, or oh, you know, there's all these things as an artist that you're always thinking about, but I really wanted to really lean towards being true to what I originally drew.
You did
to
on this
capture
one.
the moment.
You nailed it. You didn't put all that text in there, but
I didn't put all the text in because when I started to put all the text in, I think because of the nature of how, you know, there's a difference between the bottom of a journal page and this dotted line. I think it just wasn't working. So with this one, and I also think it's kind of cleaner for the piece if I don't have that much text on it.
well, let's look at. I'm just going to show this real quick. We're going to talk about this
that.
later, what these are. But this is some remnants of Mary's art.
Yeah. These are the pieces I was making later on, and I started to use the same jute, except in the pieces we've been looking at, you know, that jute was just used to lay down thread, and then in the later pieces I used acrylic paint. This is all acrylic paint to do a process I kind of call reduction print with thread. So we'll look at those in a minute. But I like these pieces.
These are really beautiful, especially in this wooden bowl here. I like them a lot.
And I think they speak to all the pieces in the series, because I think you were saying, Shane, that if you pull out one of these lines, this is my drawing style. It's sort of like an odd way that Mary draws on paper.
It's almost like a 3D pen drawing, you know,
Yeah.
because it retains your.
I mean, even if you hold it up to here, I didn't use this for this piece, but I mean, you can see it captures the way my gesture.
Yeah,
that you see
it's
over and
amazing
over.
that it dried like that. I love these.
Yeah, I love them too. That's why I had them at first. I didn't know what I was going to do with them, maybe reuse them, but then I thought, no, they should be here in the gallery with all the art.
So we're going to move on to the next one? Are we going too fast,
We're going to
Mary?
do our armchair moment here.
Let's do this one. Let's do this. You want to sit down?
That's what I was saying. We're going to have like a casual moment in the chair. Can you see us both, Sonny?
Don't turn sideways.
All right.
It gets too wild.
Yeah.
I think we need to be closer to really see.
Yeah.
I need to be closer to you.
Break is over.
Ha! Look inside.
But we can switch sides to make it more exciting for our audience.
All right.
Yeah, new side.
Here we are. We are getting in deep to Mary Serbe, born in Navesink, New Jersey.
Navesink, New Jersey.
Navesink,
Some
New
people
Jersey.
say Navesink, Navesink. I say both.
Dang, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's called Bellingham, New Jersey, which isn't really a place, I don't believe. I know Bellingham, you mentioned, is the end of the West, and New Jersey's kind of not the end of the East, but it is on the edge.
Yep, on the water.
And I love this piece. So many people have come in. We haven't had a ton of people through, but just they see the marsh in this. They know this kind of landscape.
A lot of people have talked to me about this piece. This is the only sketch that was done on unlined paper, and therefore the final piece is also unlined.
Now this piece is really strong. It was one of the earlier done pieces. We have showed this one here before, right?
No.
No. We showed Nevada before.
We've shown
Nevada.
No, wait, these three. Yeah, we did. We have shown this one before.
And this
These are
one,
the three early ones that I made.
I love this brown thread. So you get all this marsh, you know, these gestural lines, and this yellow. It's the yellowest of all the pieces.
And the paper on the sketch was yellow. Yeah.
But I love this brown. How you just kind of whip stitch these, and it pops out, and these curls, and it hangs off the canvas. I mean, that's like, I can put my finger through there. So that's like, you know,
And
3/4 of an
in there
inch.
too.
Oh yeah.
People don't usually notice the green.
I don't
It's hard
notice
to
that
see.
green in there at all, but yeah. Oh, and that's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's like little rushes and brushes. And this little thing always looks like some weird signature, but I can't figure it out.
That is my signature.
Oh,
Yep,
that's your
my
signature? Oh,
Yep,
damn.
And the date. Yep. Although usually I sign the front. With some of these I sign the back, so you won't see my signature on the front of all of them. And this is the only one. All the other sketches are based on places I've been, experiences I've had, but this one is from a dream. And that's why it's Bellingham, New Jersey, because I was in Washington. I dreamt about the marshlands of New Jersey, and anybody watching who's been near where I'm from in New Jersey, on the coast, has seen this kind of marshland with brackish water. And without being an expert on Washington, my time in Western Washington, really, it doesn't look that way. I dreamt about New Jersey. I woke up and I was headed to Lummi Island. And on the way there, suddenly for 5 or 10 minutes of my drive, it looked exactly like New Jersey, and it looked exactly like my dream.
Wow.
So, and there's more to the dream, more elements, but it was, I don't know, I've never had that happen before, where you dream of somewhere 2,000 or 3,000 miles away that's your home, and then you wake up and you start driving, and I hadn't been in the area, I didn't know where I was going, and then it looks exactly like home, exactly like my dream.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyone who's very familiar with
Now I
Bellingham
can't
and
not
Long
see
Island.
that green. The green is so bright in there that I'm amazed I didn't see it, and now it just pops out.
I mean, except for the goldfish, this is by far the most colorful. And really, it's the most colorful because it has the largest number of colors in it, even though I think the goldfish probably...
So you got some comments here. You got Katie Moncton saying love Sharpies.
Katie Moncton, Chicago.
And then we got Kate Brandt and Navasink represent, another. And that's our childhood right there from Krista.
Yep. Krista had a marsh like this, or behind her parents' house, there is a marsh like this.
Wow.
So Krista and I used to trudge through the marsh in thick, smelly, salty mud that was just like, or one time we went through there when they were spraying for Japanese beetles and we got coated with that poison foam, which I think is why we both don't remember a lot of things. Yeah, so that's kind of like right behind Krista's childhood home there.
Yeah, so all the pieces on this wall are $350 each. We figured they were like 20 by 14 or something like
You can
that.
just go for it with your math. It's
Yeah.
a Mary forearm by Shane forearm.
Yeah, they're not, they're not huge. They fit perfectly in your house. You can hit us up here at any moment if you want to buy one. You can also just go straight to the website, kirksgrocery.com, click on artists, scroll down, find Mary Serbe. You can see all this work. You can buy it right there.
And zoom in on it too.
And you can zoom in on it. We got some pretty high definition photographs on there as well. And we're gonna move on to the next one.
Lead the way.
I adore this piece. I find it to be the strangest of all of them.
It looks like old upholstery from the 70s.
Yes.
to me.
Oh man, if I had a chair of this pattern, just continued, it would be beautiful. This is another piece, like 10 years heading west, that has so much thread in it and so much depth that your eye vibrates when
Especially
the
like
sun
over
hits
here,
it.
you've got these areas where paint has been painted over, and then you've got these areas with light or mixed thread. Because I did a sketch, and I wasn't happy with the sketch. This one isn't quite like the sketch on the label.
Now this one's actually kind of hard to see. This is called Roots. It's oil and thread on canvas. And it's kind of hard to see the sketch. I can see them in almost all of them, but you can see the shadow.
Turn that image a little bit to see it.
Uh,
Yeah. If you follow like this little crux right here,
Oh,
and then you
that's-
turn it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about this one is I put paint down first. I put this navy blue paint down, and then decided against it. So I painted over it in that original background color. And I could have kept painting to totally cover it up, but I liked what I saw, that interaction.
No, it gives so much depth and shadow. I mean, like you would see in a forest. You know, all the different shades. And you know what also trips your eye out? I mean, they're psychedelic is all the tiny little hole punches, you know, like the actual pinpricks start to vibrate a little bit too. They're pretty psychedelic. I mean, in their staidness, they're psychedelic. This is a wonderful one. It is just so unique. Like you said, it's like upholstery.
And this one, I don't think I did any stitching that wasn't a little bit of horizontal here, but almost all of it's vertical.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of them I'm trying to do gestural lines, and this is almost all vertical, tiny bit of horizontal.
And you know, you got black, blue. This is like a gray and black.
Like a pale blue.
I love up here you have this big glob of paint, and you just kind of went around it with all this thread here. It's a really nice detail. This is a strong piece. I think this is it's a sleeper piece. It's kind of I think.
I feel like having had it up
Because it's the most abstract of all of them. Well, it's not the most abstract.
No.
It's not the most, I don't
To
know.
me, it's pretty realistic, but yeah, there's something about it that's, it doesn't look as faithful to reality. It has that look of something like a crazy old-fashioned pillow or couch covering or something from like 1978 or something you'd see at the thrift store, I feel like, especially in here.
Maybe we could come up with some merchandise. We make upholstery of this.
Yes.
For upholster your chairs, you know.
Yeah.
Functional arts in. How you doing, Sonny?
My arms really hurt.
Yeah,
arms
Sonny.
really hurt?
Well, I'm usually the camera person, and it takes a lot of arm strength. Yeah.
You work out. You're at the gym all the time.
You're
Not
young.
since COVID, yeah, you're young.
We got Sonny Stone on camera work tonight. Flip that thing around, Sonny. Show yourself.
No, I'm sweaty.
He's
Sweaty
always sweaty.
Sonny
What's
Stone.
that?
Where
All
do you
right.
wanna go next, Shane?
I want to talk about Trinidad because this is about the point. Mary's been working on this series for a couple years. And
Kind
then,
of with a gap. I worked on it a lot, and then there was a gap, and then I worked on it a lot. Yeah.
yeah, and I love these because it's based on your original idea of taking these. It's the exact same idea. She's taking old sketches, small sketches, some of them not even intricate sketches. What are you laughing
Oh,
at?
people are saying my name in the comments. That's all. But keep going.
Sonny!
You got a big smile on this kid, whatever you're saying. Thank you.
Weak, Sonny. Thanks, Robert.
And I wouldn't expect any less.
But I find these to be amazing because you're pushing the techniques that you're starting to learn. So this is called Trinidad. These are going to a smaller size. These are 12 by 8 by 12s or something. I don't know. I'm going to go get them measured.
These are the most recent. This is right before the show is going to go up. I ran out of canvases that I had painted with lines in oil, and I wanted to keep going because I had a little time. So what
Talk
I
about
did...
Talk about this.
Well,
how you did that.
I-
I'm going to go get the measuring stick.
Shane's getting the measuring stick.
Shane's getting the measuring stick. So what I did with these is I took the jute twine like this. And so first I painted the canvas this blue color. And then I took jute twine like this and I taped it down. And then I painted the whole thing black.
Whoa.
Then I took thread and I laid down my drawing with thread. This doesn't line up exactly, but this kind of shows you. I lined up my drawing with thread, glued it down with really weak Elmer's glue, and then I painted the whole thing this cream color. So then at the end, when I tore out these jute lines, you could see the blue underneath. And I'd never done it before, so it didn't all work out as planned. That's why you see some black here. But the plan was for this blue to be revealed when I just ripped these off. And then when I rip these off, it reveals black lines.
And I love it. The
And
texture
then I
on these
added
are
a couple
amazing.
back in.
Can we get forearm sizes on this?
This right here, ladies and gentlemen, check it out. Any
Oh,
printers out there?
real ruler.
Oh, no,
We
we're
got-
using a real rule. Oh, it's in decaliters. It appears to be.
12 by 9. These are 9 by 12s.
9 by 12s.
And the other ones were 20 by 16. 16 by 20.
Oh, and Sunny, show LB. LB always gets excited about, oh, no, stop moving. No.
We are offering a
LB.
special if you buy
No.
the entire series.
LB picks
You
a
get the
favorite,
dog.
but not this one. Yep. Yep.
Shipping included.
Yep, we've had him a year now. He's got all his fur, so he's good value.
It's a good boy.
Good value. Here, let's. LB, will you hold this ruler for us?
There he goes. Now we can measure the width of his belly
There
and
you
the
go.
width of his torso.
There you go. That's a sculpture. It's a sculpture by Shane.
$500.
It's too hot for him to care. It's hot in Billy, so everybody else.
All right, let's turn back around. This Trinidad, this is amazing. And this is Trinidad, California.
Yep, that's on the California coast, north of San Francisco.
And I love
Not
her.
too far from probably where Sonny was living.
Did we look at how similar on this little drawing? So let's just look at this line right here. It goes right there. That drawing on the far left goes straight up, Sonny, and it's almost identical. And she laid that out with thread, as she said, and ripped it out. She nearly covered this drawing perfectly, I feel. I mean, it's amazing with what
It was pretty.
line and gesture can do, and then the thickness of the jagged edge, reminiscent of when you hit the jute string and popped it, and it left a jagged edge on this. You have a jagged edge here from ripping that line up.
Yeah.
It's just like the concept.
From like
goes
literal
through
negative
the-
space because you literally ripped the paint off
Yeah.
to create a negative.
The
space.
concept that you started with at the very beginning follows through all these different techniques.
We
And
got
I think
some.
that's-
We got some questions.
Yes.
How much is the pet LB?
To pet LB, we usually charge $5 flat fee.
Flat fee. We got a monthly subscription rate.
Yeah, if you brush them a little, it costs a little less.
All right, and then this one's for Ben. $350 for these 4 each, and then
We're going to
$250
for these next 3.
Yeah. And the large one at the beginning is $600.
And I'm gonna, as someone who will be shipping these are gonna have about a $50 shipping fee if you want these. So, to be honest, these paintings that are $350 with shipping are gonna cost about $400, and then these ones here are gonna probably be about $300 with shipping, maybe $275.
Yeah, because they'll get smaller and lighter. There are some very small pieces. Yeah.
So we've looked at Trinidad, which I love. I think it's great. I love these pieces that hang off, just like you did with the thread. This time it's twine. So let's go. Here we go again with La Push With.
So that's from the same sketch or set of sketches. And this is when I first ran out of canvases that I had painted the lines on. So I decided that since I didn't have any more with the painted lines, I would sew in the lines and paint the image. I just reverse to some degree what I've been doing. So I put down the sketch for this image and then I just painted the lines as if I'd gone over them. So that it appears that those
And this, I
sew
think,
lines
if
go
you...
behind.
I was just at the Nelgy exhibit yesterday over at the YAM, and I was noticing, they're all done in the same year and they're all done with the same palette. I think the strength of what happened with you taking the series over 2 years is you kept your palette the same, but you continued to move the technique around, and I think that only came because you put time into your series. If you would have kicked them all out in 6 months or a year, I think they would have all kind of stayed like this, which I find to be similar, And then you come to this, and it's the exact same concept, but you've just pushed it so far.
This goes right to this. These were in pretty quick succession, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's
Towards
interesting.
the end, that acceleration you're talking about of changing technique happens faster and faster.
And I think the only black in here, oh no, there's tiny bits of black down
Tiny
here,
bits of
where you're
black.
only using a couple of
The embroidery floss.
just a couple of the strands.
Yep. Because there's no black paint in there, so it's painted with grays.
So on the original sketch, La Push With, we had La Push Without. La Push With obviously has 2 people in it.
Yep. There's Rob and Amanda. Robert Bykowski.
Oh,
Amanda
Rob and
Brand.
Shout out to Rob and Amanda.
Shout out to Rob and Amanda. Because the first time I was at La Push, I was by myself. And the second time I was there with them. And
Oh,
I'm basing
nice.
it off the same sketch from when I was there without them, I believe. But with them.
That is Amanda. Look at that. That's her head. I can see Amanda in that drawing.
And there's Rob.
Yeah. He's a photographer, so there he is taking her photo.
That actually does totally look like Amanda. She's leaning a little bit forward with her hands in her pockets. I can see her doing that. Great.
Yeah, and that's the only one that has any people in it.
Yeah, that is. So
I don't know.
Oh, I
what
think the vegan chef upstairs or next door is having a party on my roof.
That's the least of our problems. Robert's gonna sue us.
Oh, well.
Oh, for use of his. Well, that actually, I thought it was him, but it's actually Sonny in that image.
Yeah, that's me.
Sonny, don't sue. Yep.
Doing my classic Sunny squat.
Yep.
But you probably would want to purchase that, Robert, for, just sentimental reasons. Keep that around. Keep that tight. Keep that drawing of yourself tight.
Thank you, gallerist.
Okay,
Yeah.
we got a few more. Let's move on. Fats
there's only a
Domino.
couple.
This isn't even named after a city or a thing. It's a person, and we got a fish.
It's San Diego, California, but the title is Fats Domino. That's one of those boutique hotels where if you'd like, they'll bring a goldfish to your room to be your companion while you're there. This is the other sketch, or one of the other sketches that's from way, way before. The majority of them, like I said, were from after I left Chicago. This is from pretty early on when I had been in Chicago for the second time.
This fish is amazing. It has so much depth. You must have not pulled many of the strands off. You left it. It's just so fat. It's like an actual little fat goldfish.
Yeah, I wanted the thread to be kind of chubby, and I wanted to think. I didn't want to use too many colors, but I did want to blend. I wanted to use kind of bright poppy colors, kind of primary yellow and orange. And nothing in the other pieces has been. Areas are filled in, but not in a way to create like a real three-dimensional object, like the body of the fish.
A lot of people like this one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good stuff about this one. And this one also has, it's harder to see, but this one also has the loose threads, which blends in with areas where I use the oil marker.
Yeah,
Sometimes
and you
can't
almost
tell the difference.
you followed this line here perfectly with the thread. You just mimicked it with the line.
And I also put a little bit of gray, just a little touch of gray thread at the top, just to create a little tiny bit of.
No, this is great, and I love the line here mimicking the red line on the notebook paper.
Well, no, that's just
it's
the
not.
line that I drew in the sketch.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, well, we all get to see what we see in art.
And that one, there's a couple of these that I had two source sketches, but it was cleaner on the label to just use one. So.
Yeah, I love this one. And when this sun comes through Kirks at the right time, it just pops. Once again, Mary Serbe, Tread and Unravel, Kirks Grocery, Billings, Montana. Looking at her show. It's going great. We got just a couple more pieces left to look at.
Literally two more. Yep.
Don't forget about John Lodge's signature up here on the wall.
Stays there.
He did something here earlier, and there's no way I'm painting over that guy's signature.
That's right. So now it's always a group exhibition with John.
Mary Serbe, key, acrylic thread and jute twine on canvas. And this one just blows. This is like the breaking the fourth wall. You're outside the boundaries. Things are hanging off it of all different levels. I mean, at times, if this was massive, it could almost be an Ansel and Kiefer. I could see if this was like.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
If this was like
'Cause
20
Ansel
feet.
Kiefer's always putting dirt and ropes.
Yeah.
Well, see, what happened is as I went to this new approach that you see here too, of ripping off the thread, it's a little bit like there's an element to printmaking sometimes where you don't know what you're going to pull, especially if you do like a reduction print with the different colors that change. So I knew what I hoped the work would look like, but I didn't know what it would really look like because I didn't try it. And some of them came, like Trinidad came really close to what I wanted.
Oh, someone wants.
We want this key. Will the little sketch card come with it? It sure will.
Yes, it will.
It will.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And is that named after Key Kitty?
It's named after Key the cat. There's another piece that I didn't include because it was going to really closely replicate this sketch. And when I ripped off all the thread, it didn't work. The way it was done, I got a big chunks of paint came off instead of the lines. And the way I laid it down, for some reason with that one, I don't feel like it had the elegance. So I abandoned the original, and then I had this piece that was only sort of halfway through the process where I had painted it blue. Oh, thank you. I had painted it blue, I'd put down the jute twine, I had painted it black, and I was just going to not include this in the exhibition, but I took some of the lines that were the thread that was ripped out of this piece,
Oh, wow.
and then put it back in.
And this line just looks like you're lying like you drew it. I mean, that's what's amazing to me about how this string dried.
So to me, this line is very much like this line here.
I see it. And here's the ear or whatever that's right there.
Yeah, so it's really just this piece of it that is over here in the way this piece came out. So that was about me learning the new process and how to work with it.
Do you think you'll continue? So you finished the series.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm really excited about this. I've never done a series, and I feel like this really, all the work speaks to each other as a series. That's why I love having it all up in one exhibition.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. I don't think I've done plenty of art shows, and I don't think I've ever done a series. Like I just bring a bunch of different paintings that I've made over that year, 2 years, or whatever. And it's such a strong series. I mean, it's. I love it. It's so great. And if you have a chance to come down to Kirks and see it, just come down. I know Facebook Live is great and all, but it's the depth on some of these and the visual.
Yeah. All art is better in person if you're in town.
If you're in town. And I love this Mississippi.
Yeah, and if you look, like if I pop this off the wall, oh, we did a good job securing this, Shane and Sunny. You can see how this process is connected to the end result.
And you've taken this on the top. If I pull that string
Tear it off.
you would just tear it off there and keep it. And I love how you added that one back.
I added that one back. There was already, I had ripped one out, not the jute, but the thinner thread, and then I added it back in. Again, I didn't know what I was going to get, but this one, I think it seems a little surprising. It seems as if maybe it's so abstract that it doesn't follow a sketch, but if you look at the sketch,
You have this
you
line
see
there,
this center
you have that line there.
Yeah, it does follow the sketch pretty closely.
And this was already purchased. We've only been open with this show this is our 4th day that we've had this show up. Let's say you got some comments coming in. I'll read these to you. Dave, hi Dave, says great show, Mary.
Oh, hey
Rowan.
Dave here in Vermont?
Yep.
Yeah, hey Dave.
Glad you're with us, Dave. Has visited out here. We're still hoping Rowan comes out and visit us sometime. And she says so much emotions in each piece. Love this series.
That's true.
As well as so proud of you. Heart and smiley face with heart surrounding it, blowing you kisses.
Thank you, Rowan. Love from Chicago.
So let's read your. Do you want me to read this, or would you like to read it? Your statement.
I guess I'll read it since we're
Yeah.
here with me and my statement. Sunny, strong arms, doing this. So it's Tread and Unravel. And I feel like the title of the exhibition, it speaks to my work and Terry Carson's work. I think because both of these, all the work kind of really shows places where probably Terry and my feet have actually tread. Places we've walked, you know, the ground we've been on. And then Unravel, I think, really applies really directly to my work, right? Because some of it I'm literally
There's unraveled thread on a lot of these pieces.
there's just a big bowl of unraveled thread over there. So this statement by me, it says, lines on a page, they've been there since childhood. As an adult, I migrated from separate sketchbooks and journals to a variety of combinations of the two. The lines of the paper become so familiar that they are invisible, but not here. By using jute twine and oil paint to imperfectly recreate the flawless lines of a printed journal, I started a dialogue with those lines. For many years, I've used embroidery thread as hidden blocks of bright color, camouflaged by neighboring paint or other materials. But these pieces are about black thread, blues that match the line surface, or colors that are the negative space. Thread is like ink from a pen used for sketching. And like I said, every individual piece was approached differently while being mindful of cohesion to this series. You know, they're all part of a family.
Yeah, and as we talked, I mean, as time went on, I think this series really benefited from taking a couple years to make it, you know. And this isn't the only art she does. She's drawing in sketchbooks and stuff, but I mean, overall, she's thinking about how to complete this series, and gets me thinking.
The early pieces are strong too. I don't feel like, maybe the early pieces are strong and the later pieces are weaker.
Which is the very first piece that you made?
This is Nevada.
The first piece is Nevada.
The first piece is Nevada, and the last piece would be Key, the black one with the process showing through.
Oh, John Lodge says, love that retorqued lines equals 4D.
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
time and space.
Yeah. And then what was that last comment there, Sonny?
Chicago loves you, Mary, from Katie.
I love Chicago a lot. Thanks, Katie.
So that is going to be the end of Mary's. I hope you stick with us. We're going to talk about Terry Carson's work. I think Mary's going to take over the camera a little bit. Sonny's arms are hurting. But I asked Mary, you know, I kind of said, I think we should match you up with Terry Carson. I think it'll go good.
And I said, yes, I think it goes great.
And then I said, but we had one more. And she also wanted me to hang this Bentley Spang up here in the front, which is this beautiful frame. It's got a mirror on it. And scratched in there, Bentley is a Northern Cheyenne, of the Northern Cheyenne tribe here in Montana. And he wrote, I promise never to colonize. I promise never to colonize. Over and over and over, all the way down. And then I promise never to colonize again. Almost like a mantra, to repeat to yourself as you look at yourself every morning in the mirror.
Yeah, I think the lines of Bentley's piece work with the lines of my work and Terry's work.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, it's a strong piece. People are vain. And so they come by and they look in there. They look in there to see themselves. And then you're confronted with Bentley's message. And also now, with where the world is at with Black Lives and Indigenous Lives Matter, it's extremely relevant.
Yeah.
So I'm happy
I mean,
to see
I
it.
think Bentley works a lot within the political sphere with his artwork, whether it be social or political. It's has a lot to speak of usually.
And
Some
do you
sort of
remember the
visual
price
plan.
on Bentley's?
This is $1,000.
And is it called I Promise Not to Colonize?
I think so.
It probably is.
I promise
yeah.
never to colonize again.
I promise never to colonize again.
Well, maybe we're going to hand off the camera over to Mary for a sec. Sonny's arms are tired. He just flew in from Albuquerque.
Wow, I kind of thought that might be coming, but
Hey,
it
that's
really
right.
happened. Thank you, Sonny, for your camera work on my piece.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Show him. Get in the picture. Get over here. I don't know if you guys know Sonny. Sonny, this is Sonny Stone. He's here from Billings, Montana. He's a great artist. He's been hanging out here since we've been open. And he's probably sold about 15 drawings. I think up on our website, we only have one piece. I really need to get some because we've sold most of his work. So I need to get some more of your work up there. But he just got back to town this week. We're happy that he's back around.
And this is Sonny's Northern California style, back in Billings.
Yeah.
I've got Rowan DC saying, "There's Sonny," all caps. Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah.
So now we are moving over to Terry Carson. As we said, Terry Carson was alive from the years of 1950 to 2017, and he was a curator at the Yellowstone Art Museum, a big influence and friend to a lot of artists here. I didn't really know him. I met his artwork through his wife, Sarah Mast, and that's how I came to have a bunch of Terry Carson's artwork here in Kirks Grocery. And the glass work we're going to look at right now has not been shown. It was built to be put into a museum, the Walton Art Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And he wanted to have 30 pieces of these. So we're going to look, each one of these is 24 inches by 24 inches. And he made 30 of these. And
So where should we start?
Let's start with the horse.
Start with the horse.
And it is a 24 by 24 inch square.
There's a lot of glare there because it's glass, everybody.
Yeah.
Let me try to position myself so that our viewers can get a pretty good view of this.
And as I mentioned a little bit ago, it looks like maybe he screen printed on there. I don't know exactly what the technique was to get the black on there. It's not in his notes. I do have some of his notes, and I will read those to us in a bit. But I love these. Those scratchy lines. It looks so much like Mary's work, just translated into a different format. And if you come back, you can also see that it really is reminiscent of slides, if you remember photography and slides. This is how slides were laid out with the white border and the image on the inside. And funny enough, Terry Carson did quite a few series with slides.
Would you, Shane, would you close the blinds behind us?
Yep.
Because it's glass. And glass just loves the light. Let's see if we can get a slightly better. Okay, that made no difference at all, but I'm still going to try to showcase the lines in Terry's work. Shane's blowing out our candle in memory of George Floyd as well. We'll relight it, don't worry.
Start on fire. We got to make sure we get a picture of these flowers. Thank you, Billings.
We've got some more love for Sonny. We have some compliments for my show from Robert Bykowski, from Carrie McWilliam from Cara McRisky. And Katie Monkton thinks she wants to come to Kirks one day. Come on down, bring Steve and Maddie and Lutando Mazabuco with you.
So I'm just going to read Terry Carson's artist statement, and I'll just let Mary kind of focus on his art as I read it. Once again, there's going to be 3 more pieces. We looked at one at the beginning up front that was an abstract. There's a horse, there's a piece that says champion, and then there is one woman. Woman, we can go on the other side. I actually had it framed in oak by Hank Fuller, and it can hang, and it is beautiful.
See it from the other side. That might be a little easier to see. Over here by Kirk's new landline. All right. Oh, that's so much better. So you can see the frame next to our stylish fire extinguisher. Kirk's is all about safety. And now let's come in close and really see the light shining through and Terry's approach to putting this on glass. And you can see the texture of the glass a little bit here. And then let's just come over the corner here and see the wood frame. Kind of lost focus there. But it's just a simple frame. We've got on rings at the top. So if you wanted to put this in sort of a big, beautiful window or medium-sized window in your home for any of these, then the sun comes through in this muted way. That happens with the, is it spandrel glass, Shane?
Sandblasted spandrel glass.
And we don't know too much about these, but, you know, Terry Carson was the curator at the Missoula Art Museum. Is that right, Shane?
Yellowstone Art Museum.
Oh, that's right. Terry was at our museum, at my museum, the Yellowstone Art Museum.
These pieces, I can read about it.
Oh, Shane is going to read about these pieces. This one just made me think about how, as a curator and an artist, Terry was just so passionate about art history. And it makes me wonder if that influenced this image. Were you going to start to read the statement, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, can you hear me over there, okay?
I'm going to come around so we can look at a champion. Yes, Sonny and LB are champions,
these were taken,
but...
Sarah Mast sent me these. This is taken from his notebooks during the time he was making these glass pieces. These glass pieces are self-induced fragment of what was to be a glass tile floor for the central lobby of the new Walton Art Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Unfortunately, the project was not funded, but it was in my head. What could I do? Well, I asked the Morgan Gallery if they would fund a small portion of it, consisting of 30 24-inch by 24-inch, heat-strengthened, custom spandrel pieces, sandblasted. What is missing is the half-inch thick safety glass it was to be sandwiched between. An example is the piece generously loaned to this exhibit by the Walton Art Center. One can see how the image floats in place and how the black surface is reflective, like film. There is also a reflection of itself floating around in front of it. The proposal was to be 150 spandrel images, tiles sandwiched between 300 half-inch safety glass tiles and lit from underneath with a series of fluorescent lights.
Wow.
It was to be heavily coated with a scuff-resistant inorganic wax. It was to be a 20-foot by 30-foot floor. It would serve well as a wall as well. It would have just been amazing to walk across these with light coming from them.
Sandwiched in between even more glass. I apologize for the glare sometimes. That glare is a real problem with our Facebook Live, but we do what we can.
A couple more notes. These are notes from the 90s.
Notes from the 90s.
His work completely depends on photography. My work is made through photography. Through the use of photography, it has come to imitate it. My work has come to completely rely on photography and its realm, as it has also come to mock it or imitate it. I have come to realize that photography imitates art and that art imitates life. And this was in his journal while he was working on this. April 24th, half my father's age, 41 and 82. June 24th, Dad has a stroke in car, sinks into coma. June 29th, to Kansas City to be with family. July 3rd, Dad dies, never regains consciousness, dies in peace. July 5th, return to Billings. July 6th, funeral, too many feelings to write. That is taken from his journal while he was working on these glass pieces. Now we have a few other pieces by Terry Carson I have out that we've shown before. Once again, these are from a proposal for a different museum. And these, I believe, are to 6th scale. So these were to be pillars filled with post-consumer waste made of glass. This is called Half Nelson. It was supposed to be at the Nelson Museum. And I just love it. I mean, it's about 22 years ago is when these were made. And so, you know, some of the packaging is different. Some of the packaging's the same. But I've been told he was thorough about cleaning each of these pieces of, all of this he cleaned religiously to make sure that it wouldn't mold. So this, he spent quite a bit of time. It looks random, but a lot of his work was really planned, as well as I'm sure he used that wonderful randomness so many of us love.
And then here is one of the larger ones.
And
Stump.
this is a stump. This is an 18-inch stump. This comes from a series he did in 1997 that was called Clear Cut. And it was, I believe, 7 or 8 of these stacked up on top of each other. The whole piece was called Clear Cut, and each of these is a stump. And it's kind of a pun, I feel, because, you know, it's filled with trees.
Paper waste, yeah.
Paper waste, which was trees at some point. So we've clear cut them to make this, and he's put them back into stump form. These are $500 each. We have them in 18-inch, 19-inch, 20 and 21-inch squares, all being $500. If you'd like them shipped, whoo, be prepared to double that number.
I love how, you know, Terry has this work, these stumps, and then where I work at the Yellowstone Art Museum, we have some other pieces of his where he's used his own waste. Back in the day, you couldn't recycle in Montana, and here in Billings, once again, you can't recycle, but he tells you his story. You know, if you want to look at his own waste, you learn about, you know, the ice cream he enjoys. You learn about
the cigarettes he smoked.
Yeah, the lighters that he's buying. You learn that, you know, if you come over here, you learn his dental habits. I mean, it's very impersonal, and it's also really, really specific to one individual. It becomes really, really personal. Although I think I heard some people say that for some of his recycled item projects, he would ask other people to collect things for him to help him out. Krista says, I really like those cubes. I love this small model, and I also love the stumps. LB's getting excited. He always gets excited.
It's about the time of the show where LB attacks me and bites me.
But instead, he's playing with his toy, and this is how he shows his pick of the evening. And LB's pick of the evening is Terry Carson's stumps. Hey, Pups. Been a year with Pups so far. We love LB. What a
You can join us next Friday. It's the Pup-iversary. Next Friday night, same time, same bat channel. We're going to have an outside variety show. It's going to have comics. It's going to have poets. There's going to be some musicians. And we will just be out on the street live streaming. There's going to be some neighborhood folks around, social distancing. We've just started to have street parties because we're kind of a dead end here on the edge of Billings, downtown, and not a lot of people mess with us. And so we keep messing with that and pushing the boundaries of what we are able to do on the street. And pretty much, it seems, we can do anything.
And Nick is going to be hosting. It's like a particularly ridiculous drive-through event and Pup-iversary because LB has now been with us over 1 year, during which she's grown back all his fur.
When we're going to follow the particularly ridiculous show with a Juneteenth party out on the street. Juneteenth being the celebration of the abolition of slavery. Not that it has ended, but it was a first
Legally
tiny
abolished
step.
in the United States.
So yeah, we're going to celebrate that. We're going to celebrate
June 19th.
June 19th. LB, all sorts of stuff. Be here next Friday. We're going to look at a couple more pictures by Terry Carson.
The big ones.
The big ones.
And I think, just to turn really quick, I think these big pieces and my pieces, I think they just really inhabit the space together really well. Thanks for pairing them, Shane.
Yeah, they go. I couldn't not put them together. This one's called Grass Range, which is a place here in Montana. Now, once again, he's kind of messing with the eye like Mary. This looks so much like an etching, but it is just acrylic on unstretched canvas. I got these canvases. I believe I got 6 of them. They are 6 feet by 6 feet And I just have them unstretched because they came on a roll. If you are interested in these, I could get them stretched. It would probably be a pretty penny. But we are always willing to spend your money on making your art look better.
And then you can see that he did have this stretched at some point, especially for you painters out there. And that, like Shane said, then over time he rolled them. These are large. I'm sure there's a lot of storage space that would be involved.
Yeah, and so I just love this. Grass range. These are $500. We had 6 of them. We've sold one. One was called Paradise Valley.
Katie Monkton says great pairing.
These. What?
Oh, Katie Monkton says great pairing.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's been really fun. Kirks Grocery's been open about 2 years now, and it's been fun to have my curatorial skills. You know, the different things you lean on. You know, asking my friends Amanda and Susan over at the museum for tips. You know, storage tips from Lisa Rinaldo, Mary Serbe. All these people have been real instrumental.
Brendan as a preparator often. Yeah.
Yeah, Brendan, our good friend Brendan Fitzgerald.
Fitzler?
Fitzler. He's out. He always shows up the night before we do our shows and just does all those menial tasks that need to get done at the end of the night. Vacuuming, cutting, hanging, night before an art opening. Since the COVID times, the art openings have been quite a bit less, but we're happy you're here on Friday with us. So I don't know if you can get enough space. You might have to go around to that side to see this one.
Here, let's come
I'm not
all the way
positive.
around. Hello, my friend. Hello, Sonny. All right. Oh, here we go.
Kirks Grocery for the common good.
It's like a little bit of a rocky moment there for me.
That was supposed to be a rocky moment.
Yep, that was a Rocky moment for all of you who know Rocky, and let's just
Can I
shout
get some
out to
Burgess
Philadelphia.
Meredith out there? So this
I'm
one,
gonna come in closer though.
Bear Trap, another place here in Montana.
I love that, you know, this doesn't look as if he painted this with brushes at all. It almost looks like a print to me, like he laid down a block. What do you think, Shane? Or
But you can see that, no, it's a brush stroke. I mean, you can see the brush strokes in here.
but you don't think it looks also as if there's sort of a negative space that's
I think it's made to look like an etching purposefully, and
but it's not at all.
well, I mean, in that thing he talked about it being reminiscent of photography, so he's using, you know, totally high contrast, black and white, blown out photography. Maybe, you know, maybe he took photos, and then I don't know how these are made, but I mean, look at these clean lines. He was able to perfectly mimic a slide once again, just like the glass pieces. Just like the slide, I know the Elson Art Museum has a box of his slides that he actually scratched out. So this was, it's interesting to see the muses we have as artists, and you know, somehow the slide was in his visual vocabulary. He wanted to reference that a lot of times.
Well, and for all you young pups out there, you know, now when you submit to a gallery, you know, you would send a digital image. You would just email it or drop it in a drive or something. But you used to have to print out slides. I did it. You did it, right, Shane?
I did it.
And I never did glass slides, but I'm sure that my predecessors in time did. And you used to go to college, and they would show images of art history in your classes on slides as well. So for Terry, as an artist and a curator, I bet you he submitted and was sent quite a lot of slides. And so you see it in, like Shane said, in the shape here, and I'm going to try not to back into my dog. And you also see it in the fact that he's working with glass, like a glass slide. Like we said at Yellowstone Art Museum, there are actual slides that he exposed, so they're all black, and he scratched them out. It was very, very innovative.
We got one more Terry Carson in the other room.
All right. LB, let's head in the other room, pups. Come on. Come on, Teddy.
Why don't you just do a slow pan of this wall? We currently have we'll just slow pan it. We have some Brian Keith Scotts over here on our right. We always like to have some Brians up. These wonderful aluminum and glass sculptures. Love having these up. And then over on the other wall, we have a New York artist named Winston Sang.
Let's just finish Brian Scott, because sometimes his work is so much about the light, that with the camera, it's like if you don't let the camera settle on it and take a moment, you can't really see the beauty that you do see when you're here in the room with them. And then what's up here on this pedestal, Shane?
This is a drawing machine by Stephen Glucker. This is a $200 drawing machine. You can just keep drawing.
And you know, a lot of people say, you know, I can't draw, and
Look at
this
that.
machine solves that problem
You can
instantly.
definitely draw. You got a long
Look at all
roll of
that.
tape.
Long roll, and then open it up. Let people see the inner workings of the drawing machine.
There it is. You got a little roll in
There it
there.
is. Stephen Glucker.
So. And then over here to your left, we have the Winston Sang.
Oh, he's a hot
I
artist.
love these. He's a New York artist. A lot of posters in New York. If you live in New York City, you may have seen him in the subway, on the walls. He's had a GOP POS. He's done all sorts of things. Real, you know, what do you call that for the times?
Oh yeah, it's very relevant.
Relevant. That's the word.
You can see that these people are wearing hats, and you know, I'm not sure exactly what their hats say, but we definitely see America, and
Again.
we definitely see again, and I mean, without making too many guesses about these people, I would say they're all quite light complected. America, again, Winston Sang. This looks a little bit like George W. Bush to me, but you never know. And then, next to that, what do we have?
Pussy hats.
Pussy Hats by Winston Sang. Terrible amount of glare. Shane, if you would just not be behind it for a second. I'm going to try to eliminate some glare. Pussy Hats, Winston Sang. Very relevant to our times. This is...
These are $350 each. They're prints. Both of these are print number 20 of 25. Signed by the artist.
a really graphic piece.
Yeah, his work is very graphic, but also really politically, always stays relevant to the times.
And I like, Shane, the way on this wall you have the America Again folks gazing in the direction of the Pussy Hat folks, who are gazing in the direction of the America Again folks. Kara McRisky says, I like these two Winstons facing one another. And Kara, next time you're in Manhattan, which will probably be quite a long time because of COVID, keep an eye out for his work in and around the subways. And oh, that's right, we have one more Winston here.
Okay. This is called American Camo. This is number 40 of 50. It's another print. And you can see all sorts of people I recognize in here. One of the Trump boys,
Who do I always recognize?
Pence,
Ugh.
Hillary.
Hillary.
There's other people. Isn't this the woman from the X-Files? What's her name?
Gillian Anderson?
I think so.
Gillian Anderson?
I don't know. Maybe it's
Could
not.
be. I feel like there's a couple women who look like Cher to me. Not sure why in particular, but
An American Camo. We're Americans. We come in all sorts of camo.
yep,
We saw that at our protest the other day. Camo, large guns.
yeah. I mean, that's what the times have been about. People coming together, people who represent the fabric of the United States, even though the dominant narrative may not reflect all of us in that narrative of our history and presence. So where are you at, Shane?
I'm over here keeping COVID free.
That's what Shane does. Ready
That's
to rock
right.
the
We're going to
stage,
look at
folks.
one more Terry Carson here.
Oh,
It's
this
above
is-
our mantle.
Let me back it up.
This is called Little Boulder.
Kara says it's another year before she gets to ride the subway again.
Wow.
Yeah, Little Boulder. Aren't we going to go up to the Boulder
We're going
this
up to the
weekend?
Boulder tomorrow. Me and Mary and I will be camping, doing Montana stuff. There'll probably be a fire.
We'll be doing that with LB,
I'll probably kill something.
and then we'll feed it to the dog. And this is just that kind of atmosphere where you could set a fire, kill something, and feed it to your dog. I mean, it's just got this beautiful serenity, and actually, not to be caught up in my own space and my own head, but it reminds me a little bit about the one Bellingham, New Jersey that I made, in the way that it feels dreamlike, in the way that those patches of lightness near the bottom, to me it could be a marshiness. You know, those thick weeds, and especially this time of year when it's getting hot and humid and you can just imagine all the sounds of the insects. The air is thick with sound, the air is thick with water, and you are covered with sweat and a variety of bugs. And here,
Once again, that's $500 for that. It's 6 by 6.
$500 for this enormous piece by a very established artist.
Yeah, he's in museums here in Montana.
He's in museums in a lot of
Kansas
places.
City.
Yeah.
Well-known American artist. Wish I would have got to meet him. Happy to meet so many of his friends. But you know what? We are at the end of our tour today, but we are going to have a contest.
Contest!
I'd like you to know Kirks has been open for nearly 2 years, and many times kids like this one
Where is he?
have said, Shane, you should get Wi-Fi. And I said, I don't want no Wi-Fi because then you guys won't talk to me anymore. And I like having to make these people sit around and talk to me.
That's right, Gramps.
But we've been doing these live streams and we wanted to make them better for you, the viewer. So we've been getting microphones. You can't tell today. But in the future, these are going to be tight. But Spectrum came today. We hooked it up. And for the first time in over a decade, I have a landline. We are here at Kirks.
Let's see if we can hear the sound of that dial tone, because what if this is just a prop? Yeah, that's right.
But what we're doing a contest right now. I'm going to give you the phone number. I'm going to tell the phone number right now.
I'll pick it up.
First person to call the number
When you say go.
when I say go gets
Tell
a
it.
free t-shirt.
All right, now Sonny said he'd like to answer the call. So just like when you called to donate to public television or public radio, we'd like you to meet Sonny. He'll be answering the phone today. If you're the first one to call, Sonny will award you with a Kirks t-shirt.
That includes shipping. We will throw it into a package, multiple sizes.
Includes shipping, multiple
That's right.
sizes. So Shane, as soon as Shane says the word go, we will begin our
I
contest.
got to tell the phone number.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So here we go. Are you ready? We
Oh,
are.
I'm ready.
Sonny is standing by. So Spectrum guy came while
Yeah,
he was
turn it this way,
going.
Sonny.
I ran to the thrift store across the street. I got this phone for free at the thrift store, branded by AT&T. I don't even know if AT&T is a thing anymore.
Probably.
But here we go. Here's the number. Give
Here's
us a
the
call.
number.
Kirks Grocery, Billings, Montana. 1-406-969-1398.
406.
969
969
1398.
1398.
First
Oh.
person to call wins a t-shirt.
Well, Sonny's waiting. There's a lot of anticipation, and I know there's a lag with Facebook. Apparently, there's absolutely no interest in a t-shirt. No, there's a lag on Facebook, so it's all right. We've got
We gotta
LB.
make sure the ringer's on. We don't even know if
LB's
this phone
ready?
works, to be honest.
This will also be our opportunity to learn whether this phone works. Krista says you guys are really fun. And,
Okay. Oh!
Oh!
Hello?
Well,
You hear calling about the t-shirt?
Yes.
Nope, you got it. You got it.
woo!
Who's our winner?
Woo!
What was your name again? Marnie. Marnie won.
Marnie! Woo! Nice
Here
dialing
it is.
skills. I feel like Marnie has won concert tickets on the radio in the past. Nice job.
Marnie,
I think so.
I will call her in a little bit, or I'll Facebook message her, and we'll find out her size
Yeah.
and how she wants to get her t-shirt.
What style, what size, what
Yeah.
color? Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen all this on the Facebook, but we'll
We'll remind.
you need your phone number, Shane?
Yeah, write her phone number down.
All right.
Thank you, Marnie. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Congratulations, Marnie.
Congratulations, Marnie. Thanks, Rowan. Thank you, Krista.
Thank you,
Dave.
Reeves, Rob, Dave, Kara,
Amanda.
Carrie, Amanda. You know, I don't
Robert,
see
the
my
whole
family
crew.
showing up, but I gotta scroll through. Katie Monkton, Maddie, yeah.
So thanks for being with us, everybody. Once again, you can always go to kirksgrocery.com. You can click on artists. It'll have all our artist names on there. You can buy any of our artwork there. Mary Serbe's work is there. That's what we're pumping today. We're so proud of her. Her show looks so good, and we're so happy you've been here with us. Reach out at any point. Kirksgrocery at Gmail, Instagram, Facebook,
Venmo, yeah.
Venmo.
Just
we take
Venmo.
Venmo at Kirks Grocery, PayPal. We take donations. We are here changing the world. Why don't we fade out on? We did a week-long memorial against police brutality. We had speakers every night, rabbis, priests, talkers, all sorts of people.
Get those lights on.
And right now, I'll just give you a quick show of some of the signs that were left at the memorial. These are up here in Kirks. You can come look at them.
And thanks to Billings for coming out in huge numbers for our peaceful demonstration.
Just turn over here when you're done.
Black Lives Matter, Native Lives Matter. And I'm going to turn it around. And these are all the signs
These are a bunch of signs
that we've
were
collected
made.
from the protests. There were so many more that we don't have. Yeah. All right. Oh, Starlene is watching. Hey, Star. All right.
All right,
But
that's
I think
it.
We're wrapped up.
We're happy to be here with you. We're happy Sonny's back in town.
Yep.
Let me grab this and we'll show Mary. We'll fade out on Mary.
All right, I'll stand behind Sonny.
We love Mary to no end. She does great artwork. Krista, we love you. We miss you. We'll see you guys next time.